You remember how school was back in the day. Dry erase boards, chalkboards, desks, your favorite teacher. What if I told you that AI is not only assisting teachers, in some instances, it's replacing them in the classroom? Today we have Gaston Griffin. He's an AI and education specialist. He's passionate about reshaping the landscape of modern day education. In this episode, we interrogate a simple question. If AI, if bots can do all of the education and replace teachers, who's teaching our children how to stay human? Welcome to the Renaissance. Gaston, how are you doing today?
I'm well.
Good. I'm happy we're able to make it. Happy you're here.
Excited to be here.
Excellent. I guess the first question that I have was, or is, where were you when you realized that artificial intelligence was going to change education as we knew it? Like, what were you doing? What did you see?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. I think for me, it was being here in Austin. This was after, teaching in Chicago public schools, working with the sales team here in Austin. Everything went crazy with the pandemic. I had students that started reaching out from San Antonio as well as Chicago that I'd taught in the past. And just through a serendipitous happen chance, my little sister was roommates with someone who had family that worked for Alpha schools here in Austin. And so I started with Alpha in October 2nd, 2020. And so just what has evolved into this huge push for AI, and we like to say human-centered AI because there's tons of humans in the work. Although that opening vision there sounds like iRobot.
Yes.
As long as the AI is Will Smith teaching me.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. But yeah, we were able to just see this huge push for human-centered AI, working with students to better understand how they learn, what they're needing to learn to really personalize their learning pathway. So this is probably over the past, 3 to 4 years where we really saw, AI take this approach that's looking at what the child is doing and how they're engaging with our system or learning solution that we like to call it, or how they engage just in learning in general, being able to take in those data points and personalize that pathway for the student. So I would say, about 3 or 4 years ago here in Austin is when I started to see, AI isn't just this thing that I could type in, agentic or, a chat GPT and get something, but see it in a way that is really looking at curating students' pathways with a bunch of humans in the mix. Not that an AI classroom is dope,
Totally.
but for myself, teaching and educating, the biggest part is building rapport with students.
Yeah.
But there's so many things that get in the way of doing that.
Totally.
Right. For example, when I was in San Antonio, this new tech came out where you could scan Scantrons with the camera and it would immediately tell you the kid's score.
Yeah.
So here I am in
that's great.
2013. It's great for 2013.
Yeah. We had to wait. I mean, I remember we had to use the number 2 pencil.
Yes.
And you had to, I don't know if they even do that anymore, but you had to put it through the Scantron machine. Yes. And I just imagined as a kid, like in 2nd grade, I imagined that this machine was just like a tall machine that all the Scantrons of all the children of the world go into to give us our answer.
Yeah. And so it's really some teacher at lunch, putting it in. So that same thing, I'm in front of the computer just to get the data. It would take still 30 minutes to an hour, but I've got to do this thing where I could be at lunch or hanging out with students or doing something that helps me as an educator do the thing that fills my cup, which is building rapport, better understanding students, connecting with students, because the biggest piece of what we do or what we were doing at our school was motivating. And the motivating was just as personalized as the student's learning pathway.
I guess when we think about an artificial intelligence curriculum or artificial intelligence teacher, we do have that picture in our head, right? Like there's some grand computer or grand robot that is interacting with the kid, and that's who they're learning from, and that's it. Is that how these artificial intelligence curriculum or school models are?
I don't think so. And I know that that is the fear of a lot of the world, but that is not how I've seen it used or how I've seen my son engage with it. Right. So
Yes.
really what we do is we have learned that high dosage tutoring can grow a student, whether it's with an AI or with a human. And this, we found this out with Bloom back in 1984.
High dosage tutoring.
High dosage tutoring, which means, so by definition, I believe that's like 3 to 4 students with a teacher, and you're using this method 3 or more times in a week.
Mhm.
And there's been studies, like Bloom said this back in 1984. He said that like this can yield a greater increase. So it's, you know, a lot of those things, those characteristics of high dosage tutoring aren't realistic, right? To get 3 to 4 students with a teacher, that's not realistic.
Yeah.
You're looking in a public school at a 1 to 25 at least ratio.
Totally.
In my history class, I had sometimes 27, 28 kids, more kids than desk. So we got tables around the back. You got to, you know, find a seat. So being able to really personalize everyone's learning, letting everyone engage in their own individual learning plan isn't just something that was reserved for, you know, special education, but every student is really what we're working towards. So to answer your question, no, I don't think it's a machine. It's not Terminator. It's not Will Smith. It's really the students working, engaging with the software. And taking in those data points that we know. It's like based off of how the student is engaging with an assessment, we can see where their learning deficits are. We can see where they need more attention. We can see what concepts are being picked up and not being picked up. And teachers have been doing this for years. Just AI can do it quicker.
Totally.
Right? They can do it a lot quicker. And so being able to monitor not just what the student needs to learn, but how they learn, that's really important. So what I've seen is monitoring of students learning to the point where we can say, hey, our learning process is this, and this student is skipping these 5 steps. So we provide coaching around that, or the AI provides coaching, because it's just looking at the data. It's looking how the student is engaging with either the content or the software that they're working on. So, you know, if we want to scale it back, you could take this back to 1-to-1, like where every kid has a device in the room. And if you're engaging on your, within your software, within your adaptive learning apps, the AI can pull out those trends that students are engaging in often and say like, hey, that's not how we want to do it. We want to do it this way. So providing that real-time coaching, I think that's the thing. I think of AI like a really good personal trainer. Right. A really good personal trainer is going to understand what the goals and outcomes you're looking for, as well as like who you are and how to best approach like, hey, this is what you need to do. This is how often you need to do it. And so the school that I was at, we did a really great job of saying like, hey, this student is missing this, this concept.
So it's very specific, right? Like in a sense of the AI seems to find the weakness or the strength of a child. Because I mean, you think about it, you really understand this when you have kids, right? I remember being younger and not understanding why certain kids didn't like me or I didn't like certain kids. And what you really understand as a parent, because now you see it full circle, is that kids are at various developmental levels. Even if they're in the same grade, even if they're categorized together, right? And so in a classroom where you're talking about like a 1 to 25 or 1 to 30 ratio, it's really hard to specifically target that child's development level.
So education is a teach all, and it needs to be a teach each. We're different. We're both African-American males. We both wear blazers. But we could have different cars. We have different interests.
Some of us have beards. Some of us have goatees.
A little goatee. But like we can't pour all of our students into a big bucket. We have to, personalize everything. I've got 4 children. And if you think every one of them wants the same ice cream when we go get ice cream, which we don't do very often, that's not the case. And so I made a comment the other day that when students engage on social media, they can scroll through TikTok and like certain things. Right. And that algorithm is going to start to personalize what they see. Why can't education do the same thing? Why can't we bridge this gap of a lack of engagement? There's a lack of engagement because we don't water, the plants that kids are saying, hey, I like this. I really enjoy this. So we could do a better job of watering that, right? And so that that to me is like, a weird analogy, but I think when we can get students learning to a place where it's personalized, it gives us more time to personalize motivation and understand what really gets the student going so they can engage in their personalized learning pathway with fidelity and really grow. And so we've seen, like Bloom said it, when we have these high dosage tutoring approaches, kids can grow twice as fast. And so we're not going to have these small ratios. So how do we still personalize like it is a smaller ratio? How do we make a kid feel seen? And you remember in school where you're sitting there in class and we're learning about something and it's like, I already know that. Stephen doesn't know it. Stephen didn't get it. Christina's past it. She already read the book. She already knows. But we have to sit and listen to Mrs. Nunez get up front. That was my first grade teacher.
Of course, I remember.
We have to like sit there and listen for everyone. Like that's a teach all.
And it slows. So then that's where some children are more likely to run into some behavioral issues.
Absolutely. I was a bad kid because I was bored. Now I'm playing. I was mischievous. But like every kid needs to be approached differently when it comes to learning. And that's just at the learning part. After that, they've got to be approached differently for, how they want to be praised or how they want to be acknowledged. And I think that AI can really help lift a lot of the burden of a teacher who needs high dosage tutoring in their classroom for students who are, we call it tier 3 intervention students. They're multiple grade levels behind. So how do you provide that intervention for a classroom that could be, everyone's on grade level for reading and half the classroom's behind with math? You have to be able to personalize for intervention. And I guarantee you the state, if we're talking about public school, the state's going to say, this kid needs 145 minutes. This kid needs 90 minutes. The recommendation is going to be super objective. So why shouldn't our approach be more objective by use of AI?
I think the pushback that I've heard when we talk about artificial intelligence being really embedded into the teaching, into the school system, into the curriculum, is that traditional schools have worked fine. Traditional schools have worked well. People are familiar with traditional schools. That's what their parents went through. And they, don't think, if it's not broke, why are we trying to fix it? What do you say to those people?
It works fine until the pandemic. Right? And then it's like, oh, we don't have it together as much as we thought. And so I think the pandemic did a really great job of showing us how disconnected we are with students, engagement, and learning. Because it's like knowing the student, knowing how they engage and how they learn, it's huge. Like it's a big piece. And public school doesn't work for everybody. Public school can continue the cycle for some people. Teaching in Chicago, I saw a lot of kids who, the cycle can kind of continue. Right? Good or bad. It's like, so not to get into too much detail, but if my parents were really great students, there's a good chance I'm going to be a really good student.
There's somehow a link.
It's like, well, it's because you're getting really good coaching from someone who's done it before.
And you're following a recipe that's proven, whereas in public school, that recipe, or just in traditional school, that recipe isn't necessarily as ubiquitous across public schools or private schools or traditional schools for that matter.
And it can really come down to like how bought in or locked in your teacher is. Some teachers they're just like, we're going to do this worksheet, knock it out. And others are like, man, how do I reach these kids? Like, how do I really get to know these kids? So I think when we're talking about AI being a solution, I think it really comes down to how we are implementing AI, right? A basketball is dope. In my hands, it's okay. In Michael Jordan's hands, it's it's a paintbrush. It's beautiful, right? So I think it's the same thing with AI. We have to not take out the human side of things because humans need humans. I've seen kids learn how to read, and it is incredible to see a really good reading specialist or literacy specialist sit down with kids and coach them on little things on how they're just sounding out the word. Right. I have to see some first graders look at the word and say, and then the teacher comes in and say, hey, keep it all together. Right. make it sound like one big word. And that coaching, like the kid feels seen, they feel believed in.
Mhm.
Now, there are a lot of things about learning that we can pull out coaching cues. We can pull out best steps, and best practices. And we can present it to the kid with the AI. But really, if I'm presenting it versus Bluey presenting it, they're gonna go crazy. They're gonna go, oh my God. So really,
well, is it that specific where you can have, something that the kid is more like Bluey, they're more familiar with that? Are these programs that specific? Can they cater in that detail? Are we there yet?
I don't know, but if they are, they need to pay me some royalties because that's a great idea. I don't know if we could even talk about Bluey, but I think like AI will learn what you like, and it will present it. So we have to be really careful, right? Totally. My mom would always say, train up a child in the way that they should go and they will not depart from it. Yeah. You could train up that AI in the way that it should go as well.
Totally.
And so there's gotta be some,
it literally is being trained. So
right? So I think it's pretty cavalier to just be like, hey, here's AI, kid, log on in, ask it whatever you want. That to me seems like I wouldn't do that with the pantry at home. Totally. I wouldn't open the pantry door and be like, all right, guys, whatever you want in there, because my kids are going to go to exactly what they want. They're going to the cookies, they're going to the chips, they're going to the Capri Suns. I don't know. We don't have any of those things in our pantry, but that's where it's so important to be there. Just like I would go to my kid's basketball game or to golf practice. I need to be present. An adult needs to be, a teacher needs a guide, a mentor needs to be present as they're engaging with the AI. And once again, the AI that I've seen, I haven't seen kids just get it, sit down with ChatGPT and just start asking questions. Even in writing or reading, we don't just put the kids on ChatGPT, because if I had ChatGPT in college, there's a good chance I probably would have cheated on a paper, right? And so it's how do we not only facilitate the use of AI, but use it in the way that's going to be most impactful and beneficial to not just the student, but the teacher. Man, teachers are burnt out.
You sit in a unique purview because you are an educator, right? You are an evangelist for machine intelligence in our education system. Simultaneously, you're a father of 4, by the way, which is nuts. you have kids and some more, but you had a chance to see your child go through an artificial intelligence school. Yeah. What was that like? What did you notice?
I noticed that, even with AI coaching, AI encouragement, or AI, showing him some of the deficits or showing him that he needs to do something over, there's this element of it where, because we have AI, it makes a lot of things easier, but it doesn't take out the fact that he's going to have to work hard. He's going to have to learn how to learn, right? Because now a lot of the stuff that would get in the way, it's not, right? So understanding what he's good at or not so good at, we can find out really quickly. So now I get to be a dad around, hey, this is hard. Your answers are showing that this is hard. We know exactly where you're struggling. So now I get to coach and jump in the hole with him around the mindset of doing something hard, because the trying to find the issue, it's kind of out of the way now. Like, we know what the issue is, we know where it's at. Yeah. So now I get to teach and coach my son to do hard things and learn how to learn. And so seeing him engage in that way was really cool, because, our the process that our kids engage with learning is, first you're going to watch a video or engage with the opportunity to learn. Yeah. And then you're going to engage with the lesson. And then if you miss, you're going to go back, right? There's a whole process that, he's a first grader. He was in kindergarten first. So he knows how to do it, and the AI is going to help him do it, but he still doesn't do it sometimes because he's thinking, well, if I watch the video, this is going to take me too long. So really, there's things about the AI that allows me to see where my student or my child is at and really jump in the hole with him around, how do we progress through failure? We know we're failing, and we know the process that we need to go through to understand, but I know he's skipping these things, and the AI is like, hey, don't do it that way.
So the AI is helping with the resilience.
Oh, absolutely. I think there's, if AI is saying like, hey, you didn't do this the right way, it's, in a lot of places, it's an accountability piece.
Interesting.
Right? It's an accountability piece because you can't cheat it. It's not like me where you can, pull on my heartstrings. AI is just like, no, that's not it. And it's not a human, but they're going to get those coaching cues of like, hey, you skipped this. Hey, you did this. Hey, you got through it this fast, right? You missed XYZ Texas Educational Knowledge Standards.
Mm-hmm.
And so it really helps me hold my son accountable to doing hard things, which really is like, how do we engage with failure, right? The machine or AI doesn't care about like your tears. That's why you need a human to say, hey, I know that you missed this and that doesn't feel good. And then I can have a human conversation. I can be dad. I can insulate. And that is how I've tried to leverage AI myself and really like using AI to pull out data. And then from there, equipping the humans with that data so they can learn how to do hard things, learn how to learn, but also, lean in on that accountability, that resilience, and get the best of themselves. And I think that is something, as we get better and better with AI, I think we have to equip the humans around us with these, data points, and also how to use AI and work with students to provide a benefit, like to provide growth, right? There's some things with technology, like the wheel is technology.
Yeah.
Imagine having to move stuff without wheels.
Everything is technology.
No one goes back after you have wheels.
No.
I got wheels now. Why would I not?
And there was always one guy that was like, why do we have to use the wheel? We could just carry it.
Literally, like, don't reinvent the wheel.
Yeah. It's like, yeah. So how would you, as a parent, if you had a child in an artificial intelligence school, if you had a child that was really utilizing these programs, because I would imagine they're used in homeschool, or are they being used?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I would think homeschool would be the best place to use this, because if you think about homeschool, you've got parents and kids who are like, I don't want to go to a traditional school for whatever the reason is. So how do we make sure we're staying accountable and on track to the things we have to do? The state says that you have to learn this curriculum.
Yeah.
How do we make sure we're doing that? And so I think AI can be used to create really, once again, personalized guardrails, personalized pathways, whatever you want to call it, but it can make that time even more accelerated. I feel like my sister-in-law, she's incredible. She was a homeschooled student, and she chose to go to homeschool, and she would finish her work so fast. I think she graduated early because she had the opportunity to get it done.
Yeah.
And it's in the form of a workbook, but what if you could take a test and it said, hey, you only need to do these things because you know everything else.
Totally.
So you focus on those, you take the test again, and you pass it. And so I think along with AI, there's things that we can partner with AI, specifically within learning science. We at the school that I was at, we have a very strong focus on mastery-based learning.
Yeah.
And if you don't make a 90% or higher, you're not moving to the next.
Totally. 90s is where
right. It's like you have to. And teaching in Chicago, a 70 was cool.
Yeah, 100%.
And if they got a 0, I couldn't put in a 0. I had to put in a 50.
Yeah.
It's like, so we're just faking it?
Yeah,
totally. For the kids?
Yeah.
And so
I know I was homeschooled, and me and my siblings, we were homeschooled. And there were times where we had to go to public school, which was Chicago public school.
Yeah.
And I remember, and it wasn't that, it was anything extraordinary. It was just that we would cover so much at home, because we had, small, right? It's only me and my brother, or me and my brother and my sister. And we covered so much ground because it was 1 to 3 ratio.
Yeah.
And then when we went to public school, it was literally half of the class, a quarter of the class were literally in their own world, like not even there in class, which was the first thing that I noticed about these large school systems, where these ratios are 1 to 40 sometimes you hear about, which is insane. In America, you can have that. Yeah.
And so this is the part that I think we need to talk about more, is how do we leverage AI to increase engagement?
Totally.
Not just, engagement with ChatGPT or Claude, but engagement in learning and the learning environment that a student's in. And I think it can be done by getting some of the stuff out of the way that the kids don't necessarily need, or even the teacher needs. Like if we can offload some of the tasks that a teacher has to do to AI, if we can offload some of the disaggregating of data that teachers have to do, so we can get those analytics and jump right in the hole with the kid, that's huge, right? But there's I don't think even if we had all this data, it still takes time to disaggregate the data and find the points that.
And disaggregating for a teacher looks like I mean, what does that look like?
So I was super fortunate to be on our freshman on track team at Roberto Clemente, Go Wildcats. And we worked with networks 14 and 15 from 2016 to 2019 when I moved out. We would work with the University of Chicago, and we would get in these clusters, and it would be Clemente, Ogden, Austin, like all of these schools would come together and they would print out our test scores. And we'd get a packet, we'd get a folder of test scores, and there's like 15 other schools there. And we'd take a PD day to just, look at our own data. We're going to move to another table and look at this school's data.
Yeah.
And then we're going to look at your data in comparison. And then you're going to find the point. And it took a whole day.
That doesn't sound like it's much different from like it was, say, in the 1980s or 90s, right?
Right.
Like
It's
it
getting
sounds
the
like
test score and then saying, okay, what did they miss? How many people missed it? What's the demographic of those that are missing it? And it's like, man, if we could do this a lot quicker, we could actually iterate. We could actually pivot. We could actually target. My focus was our low performing Black and brown boys, because that was our biggest population. So this looked like an intervention of me asking all the freshman teachers, hey, can I get all the missing assignments or just assignments you have for this group of students? It's me going in and checking in with that group of students.
Yeah.
It's me opening my classroom during lunch for study hall, right? It was me doing a lot of stuff.
So a lot of admin.
A lot, yeah.
So you like, how much of your time do you feel was admin versus actually educating?
Oh man, I'd say it'd be about 70 to 30%, like 70% admin. It just in that specific role of being, leading the intervention, it's a lot of like pulling together, understanding, like gathering the data, right? And then from there, it's like, then you find the lessons, then you have to get them from this, the different teachers.
Yeah.
And that's a task. So I'm walking around, it's on the 4th floor. I'm walking around with a crate with, work from every grade level teacher.
Yeah.
And then finding what a kid's missed. Like there's a lot that goes into it.
And it's so easy. Sounds like it's just so easy for people to get lost, for students to become lost in the sauce, lost in just the system of grades. And literally you could just lose a piece of paper, which is insane.
So this is where I don't know that AI can ever do this. There's always a teacher at school that a kid will connect with. In most cases, if you enjoyed school at all, there's always a teacher. I don't know that I don't think AI can replace that teacher that makes you feel seen, that sees your potential before you do, that jumps in the hole with you, that brings practical and realistic solutions and like real care.
Role model.
AI can't give no hug.
Yeah,
right?
Totally.
They can't give a handshake.
Yeah.
And that's where it's like, how do we make these all-star individuals, these all-star humans who are saying, I want to teach the next generation, which is crazy to be like, I want to be responsible for educating the next group
part
of
of
kids.
Humanity.
But the people that do it and that step in, there's a woman that I worked with, and I know this is not about humans, it's about it's about AI.
But it's human-centered AI.
Yeah, human-centered. Here we go. Leibowitz. This is short, little white lady, glasses. And I had this saying, I said, Leibowitz never quits. And she was a math teacher. And she's teaching on the west side of Chicago. Freshmen.
Yes.
Freshmen are cuckoo bananas.
Yeah.
I saw this woman write 100+ letters to every single one of her students.
Yeah.
Every single, like a personalized
Wow.
letter
That's
to
amazing.
every kid. And these aren't like the nicest kids sometimes.
Yeah.
Like Chicago students were some of them.
No.
I heard the meanest cut down. One kid saw me and said, nose on fat. And I was like, oh, my nose. Like, I didn't even realize.
Who knows? I mean, there's so many things they can call you with your nose.
And it's hard.
I don't know how they think of it, but like
amazing.
they can target one part of your body and completely destroy your confidence.
Or they call me Italian beef feet. I'm like, they don't hit on my shoes. But the kids weren't always easy. And so you have to have really great humans that are willing to jump in the hole, that are willing to love. And that is probably the biggest thing I saw at my son's school. I saw, because they had some time to personalize motivation. My son's like me and he get a little off task. And so I was like, can we make like a tracker, like something that like, if he's off, because we have the red, white, or the what is it, the rainbow behavior chart, and you put the clip.
Yeah.
They're doing well. They're on blue if they
Yeah.
move down. And they're like, no, we're not going to call it that. Let's not a behavior chart. Let's call it a focus plan.
Yeah.
And they were like, what is Gideon really into? I was like, ninjas? They're like, yeah, let's make it a ninja focus chart.
Yeah.
So every day
Yeah.
he'd come home with this little ninja thing.
Yeah.
And even his behavior was personalized because they had the time to do it, because some of the tasks that they had to do, you know, is offloaded because AI is going to take care of some of that.
Yeah.
And so the human part isn't just the humans on the back end, but the humans that are face to face with the kid. I think that was really great to see. It wasn't this place where my kid is at, the AI is taking over. It's like the AI is really allowing the teachers to better understand, better reach, better love my kid. And that is like, that's a parent's dream.
Well, you have this when we start to hear about AI, especially AI in school, especially let's say ChatGPT or any chatbot. Yeah. The biggest concern it was the kids are going to cheat, right?
Yeah.
Then the other concern was, which you heard not as much as the cheating scandals, but you heard, hey, teachers shouldn't use this because it takes out the human centeredness of, you know, their lesson plans and their so it was this panic about using artificial intelligence on both ends, right? The teachers can't use it, the educators can't use it, nor can the students use it.
Yeah.
And we're gonna act like it doesn't exist. Yeah. But everybody knows it exists and they're using it.
Yeah. So my thing is, we're afraid of things we don't know about. You don't know about things you don't try to learn about. And so I think as educators, we have to do a better job of educating ourselves. The research is out there.
Yeah.
Right. The research is out there and you can find it, whether it's a meta-analysis or Harvard's research, it's out there. And I think it's really up to school leaders to do the research on what AI works best for groups of students. Yeah. Right. We know that high dosage tutoring works best for tier 3 intervention. Right. So if we have tier 3 intervention and we need high dosage tutoring, that means someone's going to have to build the pathway for that kid to get caught up. That means a human's going to have to do it.
Totally.
If there's not an artificial intelligence doing it. And so that's where I'm like, it's crazy not to use AI.
So when you say high dosage tutoring, right? A kid goes to school, say they go to school from whatever, normal school hours, 8 till 3, right? They're utilizing the AI that entire time, obviously minus like lunch and, you know, recess. They're utilizing the AI for, 4 or 5 hours a day, or how does that work?
Yeah. So in the school that I was with, Alpha, our whole thing was 2 hours of learning.
Yeah.
And I was able to see kids ranging from 5th grade all the way up to 7th, 8th grade, spend that time. And it wasn't like 2 hours of like hanging out. I mean, we used the Pomodoro method where you're going to spend 30 minutes of real work. And you'll have a 5-minute break.
Totally.
And then another 30 minutes. And by lunchtime, we're good. Like we're going to go and do workshops that focus on life skills, right? Mm-hmm. That, those life skills could also have, academic base or background. Totally. We're still going to work on writing. We're still going to work on math, but it's going to come in a different way, right? I did this, I think I can say this really cool Harvard simulation where we had a group of kids and it was a leadership workshop. And the kids, this has nothing to do with AI really, but the simulation was a zombie apocalypse. And this is great stuff that Harvard grad school students do. So now my middle school kids are engaging in the same way. And this is just like one workshop where we could bring something that's fun that also is a little more rigorous than just like, hey, we're going to sit in a circle and
also
talk about
it's real world, by the way.
Real world, right?
Which is going to help them for what they want to do after K-12.
Absolutely. And it was fun, but like, how can we spend time not just engaging with this, this solution, this learning solution that's human-centered AI, right? Along with motivation. The motivation really comes in the afternoon. It's like, oh, I really like this workshop. But I'm like, hey man, you didn't finish your lessons.
Yeah.
Right? You had all the time. So it's still school, but I would say depending on the severity of the student's deficit, that 2 hours can change. Like personally, if my son's coming home and I know he's struggling in an area, it's like, hey, let's spend a little extra time. Like the work is the work. We're a pretty athletic family. We want to get good at basketball. you have to go shoot.
Yeah,
If you want
for
to get better
sure.
at free throws, you got to put in more time. So I would say it really is based off of what a kid needs. And specifically to high dosage tutoring, it said, I think 3 times or more a week and small classrooms, right?
Yeah.
Where you've got this like smaller group. It's a more intense, more rigorous intervention. We can provide the same thing.
Okay, I see. The high dosage tutoring is the human aspect, or is that specifically the AI?
So high dosage tutoring is like it's a concept that I spoke about it real briefly. Bloom did a study in 1984 that's saying that this can bring about better, larger growth.
Yes.
Right. So now we take that concept and pour it through a filter of AI.
Mhm.
So it's like
Okay.
the time spent can be done more efficiently and effectively because we're not spending time disaggregating data. We know where the kid is at. We know exactly what the student is going to do. My now 7-year-old can grab his device, log in, go to his dashboard or his learning wall, his pathway, and start just jump in. And so I've seen since fall 2023 to spring 2025, I've seen my son have a 2x growth. My 7-year-old is working in 3rd grade content.
It's nuts.
And that to me is like, I sucked at school.
Yeah,
I was
for sure.
not good at school.
Yeah.
And so I didn't want to engage in it. And so to see my kid like school because it's exactly what he needs. And he'll walk up to people and be like, I'm doing fraction word problems. And I'm like, hey man, chill out.
Yeah.
But he's excited.
He's excited about
because
learning.
It's his path. Right. And I've seen this with a lot of students where once they get this knowledge of like, oh, this is where I'm at and this is how I can keep growing.
Yeah.
Man, they dive in because now they feel like they have some type of control of what they're doing because what they're doing is super specific and super, zoomed in as to, okay, I got this done. What's the next step?
Yeah.
So that to me is, my son's experience, but also when we say high dosage tutoring, now we can engage in that. We can incorporate AI in that to look at the students' just learning and even in the lessons that they struggle with or they get correct in testing, we can look at how they're engaging in the content, what they're getting right, what they're getting wrong, and really be more intentional with the intervention or the growth. So just like the lower kids as well as the enrichment kids.
Totally.
We gotta allow them to grow at their pace.
Totally. And that sounds like what AI does. It allows you to actually focus on them
Absolutely.
as an individual.
Absolutely.
At their development level. Very specific.
Yes.
Very interesting because another, what you hear with this gloom and doom outside of AI and education, just the general gloom and doom of AI in our society, right? It's going to take jobs. Yeah. It's going to make so many people redundant. You can, it's not difficult to believe if you use any one of these chatbots, right?
Yeah, I think so. Once again, I think it comes down to how you learn what it can do.
Yeah.
How you can use it, right? I'm engaging in a sales role now.
Yeah.
And I had no clue there were so many things that are centered around AI that can help me with my research, that can help me with my sales pitch, that can take in a client's needs and take in our messaging or take in how we can provide specific solution and marry the two within seconds. So now my conversation isn't just like, hey, well, it's like, no, we know. So let's figure out how do we implement so we can see the results a lot quicker. I don't think that's necessarily going to replace humans.
Yeah.
I think if you're using it well, I think it's going to enhance humans.
Yeah, and I think that's like when I think about this redundancy that people talk about. Well, I guess we have to figure out a way to use artificial intelligence to make
absolutely our
children stand out, and that kind of just leads me to think actually, how are these kids doing in the real world?
Yeah,
that have had artificial intelligence curriculums.
Yeah. So this is a great question. And we're going to find out this year. We're putting my son into a more traditional school. We're removing him from the private school. And what's exciting is I work for a company called Studient, and we bring human-centered AI and motivation science to public schools, and we want to see kids grow. And so you better believe I'm going after that school my son is in.
Yeah.
Because I do think it's not just going to help him, but it can help his peers. It can help students that are below. It can help students that are higher above. We have to do a better job of watering the plants.
Yeah.
Right. If our kids, these are fake. If our kids
they
are
very
are fiddle figs,
very
right?
green.
Right. But so that's it. Like
Totally.
different plants have different methods of how they need to be cared for.
Yeah.
And we do it for so many things. This is the part that frustrates me in America. We personalize so many things. Everything's got like its own, oh no, you got to do it this way. And it's like, why aren't we doing that for the most precious commodity?
Totally.
Right?
Education,
it's our biggest
healthcare.
asset.
Yeah,
It's our
totally.
future. And so if we don't, not to make this about other nations are going to use this.
Yeah.
Other places are going to use this.
Yeah.
And we have to equip educators with the how-to, but also give them some autonomy to use it in a way that pushes how students are learning with fidelity.
Yes.
And I think that's like, there's been a decline in third grade scores since the pandemic.
Yeah, which was the pandemic. I mean, really was just the great equalizer.
Put a big old mirror up.
It really did. I mean, it really let us know where we were sucking at. And we thought we were bad, but these kids and how they had to interact with school, not receiving school. I mean, so many children are behind, and you start to see it, I mean, small things where they just didn't have a lot of interaction. Mm-hmm. So key moments in their early development, they weren't interacting with a lot of children. So, you could talk to them, and you see certain things that they're just missing at this moment, And so it's when we think about artificial intelligence and how this is going to move our children forward, I think it's really important that we find, again, like this human-centered approach where we can pull the best out of our children, but also keep them in the world that they understand. They're
Absolutely.
they're on the computer, right? They're on the iPad.
It's their language now.
Yeah.
Like
This is their world, and that they were born in. I mean, they were born literally in a virtual world, especially during the pandemic.
Every kid needs to go back to the 90s. If AI could create a time machine and let kids live from 93 to like 98, because we didn't have cell phones.
Oh, you just called somebody and you didn't. When I tell my nephews, my nieces, like, hey, you could call someone, you didn't know who would pick up. Like if you say you like some girl, you're some teenage, you call this teenage girl, you call her house, you literally don't know who's going to pick up. It could be her mom, it could be her sister, or it could be her dad. You just didn't know. And it was this world where you realize it was you really felt the uncertainty.
Yeah.
In the human condition in the world. Whereas I think for us that are older, it feels as though there's just so much more information.
Oh my gosh.
But for this generation, for the kids coming up, it's a lot of uncertainty for them as well. Yeah. Because they really know, they're exposed, whether it's through social media. Yes. They know what these rollies are, right? Yeah. Like they know stuff that I didn't know what the crate bust down rollies were.
So this is a thing with AI. It's like I think for me, or maybe even for you too, like our equivalent to AI was TV.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, I'll never forget getting caught watching MTV.
Yeah.
My dad was like, you're not supposed to watch that. Yeah. Not even late night. It was like 2 in the afternoon. It was a spring break.
Yeah.
And like MTV would be like crazy during spring break.
Yeah.
Well, I guess not crazy now. But now it's like you have to police what they're on their tablet and on their phone and all this stuff because there's so much information. And so one way that I'm trying to use AI is in working with young people in their holistic development. Yeah. I've been blessed to work on and develop an app called Pulse Check. And the whole point of it is to allow students to set goals physically, academically, socially, and emotionally in a holistic way, and then check in periodically with just how they're doing. And after that check-in, there's a connection with their mentor. So their mentor can also see their profile. Okay. There's AI that takes the goal and their current state of being and says, hey, based off of where you want to go and how you're feeling, these are the best next steps. Okay. And I would never, ever tell a kid just to do that on your own. Hey, just do it. Yeah. I can see some kids doing it because some kids are like, well, I just want to, knock it out myself. That is meant to bring together, right, the mentor mentee and give that mentor analytics to how that kid is feeling and who they want to be. And this is what I think is the secret sauce. When kids feel seen, heard on a holistic level, right? Say I'm an all-star basketball player. I'm not good at basketball, but say I was, right? My identity is going to start to be just in basketball.
Totally. Well, you were a student athlete.
I was a student. I ran track. So this actually happened to me. I ran track in college. It was pretty good. Always made it to regionals, never made it to nationals. And then the year after, I ruptured my left Achilles tendon. And then 9 months later, I ruptured my right Achilles tendon. And I am nobody. My identity has been lost because I've always been this, really fast athletic guy. And now I can't get off the couch.
Totally.
But I need to work on a promotion at work, and I need to, still hang out with my friends, and I need to check my emotions. I didn't really have anyone checking in on me around those things, but they were still huge parts of who I was, but they weren't like those fires weren't flamed, right? They weren't looked at. And so I feel since 2022, I've been able to work with students that I taught in the past in Chicago as well as in San Antonio.
Yeah.
And I'll say the student's name, Jalen Smothers, just finished his master's degree after transferring to another school to play football.
Wow.
And now he's working on getting his doctorate in physical therapy.
Very good.
And we were able to do that concept, let's set goals every semester and let's check in before there was an app.
Okay.
Right. So the concept of setting goals holistically, checking in and letting me just be along for the ride, letting me be the Dumbledore or the Gandalf.
So the app is something that you guys use kind of to communicate. You will have a discussion. This is how I imagine it will go. You'll have a discussion as if you were like a mentor or parent. And then instead of it just kind of being as subjective, goes into whispers of humanity and that we never hear from it again, you actually have it written down.
Yeah.
And then how do you interface with AI to achieve, say, or, to focus on whatever you guys.
So it's a little different than that, but pretty much the way we'd use it, because we got to pilot this with my middle schoolers, the way we would use it is we would let the kids go check in first.
Okay.
After they would say goal, we'd let them go check in. And I found out the kids really loved the autonomy to go check in without me just jumping in and trying to figure out what's wrong with this kid? What's up? The kid would really love to just be like, I don't want to talk to anyone just yet. Let me just, almost like a journal.
Yeah.
And then from that, AI is giving best next steps that are objective to the goal they set and how they're doing.
And it gives it to you or to him or to both?
To both at the same time. So my interface could see what they're doing. And so as soon as they would check in, I'd get a notification, say this student checked in, and I could go through and look. And every single AI, best next steps, I would say hey, how do you feel about this? This is interesting. I like this part. What do you think? Hey, this aligns with what we were talking about the other day. So now I get to engage with the student and the AI that's making the next step a little more objective because it's just pulling the data once again, right? It's saying hey, you said you want to do this and you're feeling this way. So you're on this path and you're feeling great. So you can maybe, go up a little bit or you're feeling down. But how do we get you to stay accountable to where you're going? The business is called Accountable Purpose.
Yes.
But the tool that we use is called Pulse Check. And we're going to be implementing this fall at a alternative school in Chicago.
Oh, wow.
And so this to me is where I feel like AI can help me and other coaches show up better. A good coach is going to have I keep using that.
And we're saying athletic coach or just
any
kind of coach.
Let's use athletics as an example.
Yeah.
If I'm a basketball coach, before I play a game, I'm going to have an analytics sheet of where the team we're playing makes the most shots. We're just a what do we call it? A scouting report.
Totally.
We're going to equip coaches with the scouting report of how their student is doing so that coach can show up with more intention. So that coach can jump in the hole and build rapport. I'm not saying we fast track building rapport, but when a kid feels like you understand where they're coming from, it really does work. And this is, before the app was created, I would have a notebook and I'd sit down with my kids and I'd be like, hey man, on a scale of 1 to 10, how you feeling physically?
Yeah.
They'd tell me why. And now the app can do that. So the kid can do it on their own and have that autonomy, but I still get those data points that allow me to show up and be the mentor they need. And
Yeah.
so this is, you know, a different way to use AI. But for me, I'm looking at AI as like, what can it do to help me improve how I approach? If I care about this, I should always be trying to, you know, be more effective, be more, you know, locked in, as the kids say, to who my kid is.
Even like as a parent or a coach, I mean, you hear these modern parenting. It's like, we don't know what our kids are doing. They're on the internet. We don't know what they're doing. They're being bullied. They're bullying. They're doing so many things. And because there's typically a disconnect in technology, even for millennial parents, right? Because I mean, I don't go on streams, you know, like I'm 40, like but that's the thing. It's not just, you know, Instagram or Facebook. No, it's an entire myriad of platforms that children utilize these days. Yeah. And I feel like this app is a way to kind of say, okay, 100%. You know what? If we don't know what our kids are doing online all the time, we can still have them check in almost like online.
So this is the hope. And you said it perfectly. My hope is that instead of going to scroll and compare myself, I can go and align myself with who I want to be and check in with how I'm doing right now. That, like, it's so important for kids to understand the dream you have is attainable. You can do it. I don't think a lot of kids have adults championing that.
Yeah.
Like when Jalen told me years ago he wanted to be a physical therapist, I was like, absolutely. Let's go. Let's do it. Jalen was a kid I had in middle school, and he was a great kid then and still a great man now, but his dreams didn't stop.
Yeah.
And it's not the case with all of his peers, but some, I watched one of my other students suit up for a football game in the NFL. And it's like these kids have dreams, and the only thing that stop them at times are just a lack of belief.
That's, I mean, we owe that to them, you know, because as an aggregate, like you said, you mentioned there's other countries where honestly, for many countries, it's going to be easier for them to scale with AI because they don't have the previous infrastructure. Like we have to figure out how to build off of all of this infrastructure, all of this bureaucracy, all of this yellow tape, and scale the AI to where we can help people as an aggregate and not leave them behind. Where other countries, they can just get the technology and, you know, instead of having to build, you know, the railroads for, you know, old school trains, they're going straight to the bullet train.
Yeah. Yeah. And I agree. I think that we have to do a better job of that, right? We have to do a better job. Where I think a lot of fear of AI comes from are people who feel like it's going to take away opportunities, right? It's going to be like, well, if AI does that, then my job's going to be gone. Or we could be looking at it like, if AI can do this, how can I make our systems and processes more efficient? Mm-hmm. How could we scale this in a greater way? And that's what I want to do with mentoring in a holistic way. It's like, how can this not just be a way I'm working with students, but a way an institution, right? Let's say a college athletic department, they've already hired great people. Yeah. So let's get them good tools, right? Let's get them great tools so they can better, you know, approach, better help and, you know, support their students. And so I believe that this can be a great tool, but like anything, it's as good as I make it. It's as good as I invest in it. So I think one thing that I really appreciate doing is like not using the app at times and getting out that notebook and breaking it down to like, well, what at the end of the day, what's the concept that we're trying to really instill here? And I've worked with students that were as young as 10 and as old as, you know, 22, 23. And at the end of the day, they feel a certain way, right? And they've got goals. And so how do we fix our mindset? How do we instill these things that, you know, really great mentors can do, right? To help kids or to help young people, to help their mentees grow. I think it's gotta be a bigger topic of how we're leveraging AI to assist kids, to help kids, because we know there's things out there. We know there's bullying. We know there's anxiety. With all this information, anxiety is increasing.
Totally. Right? Why is that? Yeah, because we're not utilizing technology, right? It's like, I think what I hear from you is that what's really, so you have machine learning, right? AI. And then obviously you have us as humans. And what's really human about humans is our genius, right? Yeah. And you're saying we need to focus on the genius even more and disaggregate all of these menial tasks that take us out of our zone of genius. Actually makes, so in that way, you believe AI makes us even more human.
I think it can. I think it can allow us to lean into the parts of humanity and the humans we're working with that we know, this is the area that we need to focus on. How do I know that? Because the data is showing this kid he told me. Yeah. So how do I intake the data and then use it to really help the student? And so I think if I'm trying to leverage this, artificial intelligence to help other humans, I think AI can be, it's like a hammer. Yeah. I'm not going to build a house without a hammer. That evolves into a nail gun. That evolves into, right? It's like we're always evolving what we're doing. And so if we are keeping, humans at the focus, right? Helping people at the focus, AI can be incredible. Yeah. And I think the moment you take humans out of it, right, then it's like, well, what is it? Who is it serving and how is it serving? And so of course, there's always like money tied up into this stuff. Not for me right now. Yeah. But I could use some sponsoring if you're out there and you align. But I think plug. Give me money. I think like if we miss the point of like, if I'm so focused on like getting the money and I don't think about helping the kid and pulling out the notebook when my app doesn't work the right way, it's like, well, then I've missed it. I missed the big picture. So we've got to be able to partner the two. That's why at the school that I was at, it was so important for us to not just have the human-centered AI, but the motivation science, the personalized motivation is like the big thing. All right. You can have an extrinsic GIF pull out intrinsic belief. Yeah. And that explain that. Huge. So I can say, hey, if you get your work done, you make a 90 or more on this test, I'll give you $20. Mm-hmm. So you're like, oh, okay, boom, 90. Oh, so you can do it. Mm-hmm. What was standing in the way? It's like, well, I didn't have anything to do it for. I didn't feel like anything was I was gonna get anything from it. And that's the thing, man. Kids don't feel like they have skin in the game. They don't feel like they're getting anything out of education. And that's where we have to use AI to personalize pathways so kids can get a better view of who they can be. Because we know school is something that you have to get done to get a seat at the table. Totally. Right? Whether it's a bachelor's or a master's. I don't have a doctorate, but you still,
you still have to.
Right. You have to show education. You can do the thing and intake the knowledge. But after that, man, the sky's the limit. And I think that's what kids have to understand. And I do think AI can help us get through the learning in an effective, efficient way so kids can apply the learning to their passion, to their heart. And I think that will never stop. I think that is very important.
Because you're passionate about athletics, seems like it's something that you think deeply about, and also AI. So if you're a child where your entire curriculum is AI, how do you then find those things, those extracurriculars, like sports, for example, or music, all those things that you would find from the naysayers against AI that promote traditional schooling?
So this is why, and I believe traditional schooling will get there. I do believe that. I believe traditional schooling will get there. But the thing with traditional schooling, no one wants to be first, but no one wants to be last. Everyone wants the intervention. Everyone wants to use, it's like a laptop. We want laptops, so we don't have the money, but the next 3 districts get them. Yeah. You'll find the money. You'll find a corporate sponsor. So I think this is why at Alpha, we were so, we really leaned on that 2 hours of learning, right? Because if we know exactly what I need to do, I can do those 5 lessons that keep propelling me on my pathway, right? To learn at a 2x pace. So the rest of the day is where I'm engaging in things that I'm interested in. We've got kids who've done personal projects that are incredible, that are huge, because they've had the time. Now, that doesn't mean they don't put the learning to it, but then the learning becomes this motivating thing of I want to get this done and I want to get it done well so I could focus on this thing that I really love. And they start to marry. They start to combine because that intensity of I'm passionate about this thing and I want to do it well, that goes over to their academics as well, right? So if I'm doing it well, then that means I'm progressing. And even if you get stuck, having the AI help you get unstuck. And one thing that we do is we'll provide another lesson when a kid gets stuck. Mm-hmm. And if that doesn't work or it's not clicking, we bring in human coaches.
Yeah.
We bring in human coaches pre-test, post-test, around the content that they're learning. Like we have to know when to say, hey, this kid needs a human. This kid needs someone to jump in the hole with him. And I think the AI just defines the hole. It's no longer a hole. It's like a ladder or a stepping stone. It's like this kid needs these specific areas that they need to work on to get this larger concept, right? AI can lay that out for us, but I think humans oftentimes get the kid to be resilient, to have the grit to get through it, right? If you want to run a marathon, you can walk the course. I want to run Chicago one day.
Yeah, you should. It's a great one. I would do it with you. It's all flat. Okay. It's flat and it's beautiful.
2026.
Perfect time around October, I think it is.
Yeah,
it's perfect.
I won't do it one day, but you can walk the course. You can do all this stuff. AI can tell you all about it. But at the end of the day, you have to run it.
Yeah.
AI is not going to run it for me.
Yeah.
Right. At the end of the day, I'm going to need some encouragement from the crowd. I'm going to need a hug from my wife at the end. Totally. I'm going to need a human to set out the water so I can, we can't just have, I don't think you can have just AI. I think you have to, actually we do have cars that just kind of drive themselves around, but I think you still need the human, especially when you're working with humans and human development.
Yeah. Especially for development, something as sensitive as that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Another thing that comes up when we hear about artificial intelligence and implementing machine learning in schools is it can be expensive. I mean, it's not, from some of the schools that I've heard about, I mean, it's in programs that I've heard about, it's not cheap, at least not right now, right? What's going on behind the scenes to kind of make it, more equitable for, kids all across the country to have access to some of this state-of-the-art technology?
So I'll kind of speak to, with Student and the company I'm working with, we're trying to bring this to traditional schools. And, with the high dosage tutoring, the research said that it would cost about $3,000 to $5,000 per kid. And this is back when it's just like putting time to it and putting humans to it, having a lower ratio. Nowadays, I think we can implement AI at a much lower cost and scale it at a much lower cost than 3,000 to 5,000, right? And I think it really comes down to not just the dollars you have, but does the community want to help with that, right? We put money, booster programs in Texas, Friday night football is huge.
Yeah.
Booster programs have all kinds of money.
Yeah.
I believe my school that we're going to go to next year PTA raised $68,000.
Can you talk about, so I'm not from Texas, you are. When people say how important football is to the state, it lives in every crevice, in every crack, in every city, in every small town. What's a booster program?
A booster program.
Because a lot of people don't know what that is outside
booster
of Texas.
Program is going to be, it's almost like the PTA, what is it, Parent Teacher Association.
Yeah.
The booster club, it can be anything from old, people that have graduated, alumni, people who've played before, coaches, families, communities, a lot of corporate sponsors in the area, right? Everyone's going to the Friday night football game, right? So if I'm a local,
college,
I mean, high school is like high school football is huge.
Yes, it's
huge.
so huge.
And I wish I was better at it. I didn't spend enough time in football.
Yeah, I tore my ACL my senior year of high school. And I will tell you though, I love football. I mean, you have to if you live here. And when I look at some of these schools, I see these funny TikToks of these young kids where they show these to high schools. They look like junior colleges.
Oh yeah, colleges.
And the kids walking around like they look like professional athletes. Yeah. And they're like 14.
And they're doing like sprinting and lifting programs just like colleges.
Yes.
There's
so different.
Have you ever seen Friday Night Lights?
Yes.
Shameless plug. Clear eyes, full hearts. Can't lose. I think there's something about high school. I'll speak to myself on this. I went to Colonies North Elementary School in San Antonio, Texas. I'll never forget when the Clark High School varsity football players came to my lunch in their Lettermans, and there were some black dudes up there. They looked like me, and they like they were good. We looked up to these kids.
Yeah.
And then in middle school, we're running the same playbook, right? Where you're already like, it's I don't even know how to explain it, but it was so a part of who we were. My brother and I went to Thompson Clark High School, Clom Cougars, and we would play in this big football game called the Gucci Bowl. It was between Churchill and Clark. And back in 1978, when those two schools were opened, or Clark was open, they were the two richest schools in San Antonio. And so all the girls were wearing Gucci. Man, in 2003, we had a Gucci Bowl.
Yeah.
And it was like something that started in the 80s. And so I remember there were 10,000 people there. I got a pass. I'm running up the field. I fumble like the 5th play of the game.
Oh, wow.
I didn't get the ball again for like 3 games. But like, it was just, it was something that was just so apart. And we also like do this weird football church thing at the end of practice. We're like saying the Lord's Prayer. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, we said the Lord's Prayer at my school.
Okay, I felt like it was after practice, like the coach just cussed me out, and I was like, all right, off on it.
Now time to pray.
Yeah, so I think there was just something about it where you get young men who are excited to have this collective goal and, get into it. I don't know what AI can do for football beyond like analyzing what a team does the most. Like, once again, like if you use AI the right way, I can, potentially upload the film and the AI can say like, well, this team runs.
Yeah, look at your angles that you're taking.
Right,
I wouldn't be surprised if that would already exist.
I'm sure.
Like NFL probably already has.
And that's the thing. It's like, why wouldn't you use it if it's going to make me more effective and efficient?
Make you more human.
What's I forget the video. Like I would set up a camera at my basketball games when I coached in Chicago, and I would just push play, and then at the end I would hit a button, and it would like pull out all this data. It would pull out specifics for each person on my team, their stat sheet. So it's like, I do think there's ways to integrate, AI into sports as well. Yeah. I'm excited for my kids to play, but I'm kind of like hands off because I don't want to be the parent that like is pushing my kid more than my kid is pushing. But I think there's even things now where it can like with dribbling, it can track like your dribbling and like how consistent you are with your dribbling, or how proficient you are with your left versus your right, or between the legs, behind the back. And as this evolves more and more, anyone that's serious about growing what they do, they're going to use AI. Yeah. I don't care if you're in sales or medical field, education. We're almost like, it doesn't make sense for us not to use the tech that's available to us, and to make sure it's the outcomes are what we're wanting. So once again, with Pulse Check, right? That's why the kids set goals, right? That's the outcome that we want to get to. Yeah. Right. And we need to understand what we're doing in between, setting the goal and hitting the goal that gets us there. And so AI can bring some clarity to that. It's like, hey, it seems like you want this, but you keep doing this. So it's like, how do I, break down my habits? How do I change my habits? How do I instill habits that are going to help me get there? So I feel like that's just one of those things across the board, whether it's sports, whether it's medical field, sales, education. We have to use AI in a way that's going to help us scale and grow in order to help others. And I don't know how you help others with sales, but
I get what you're saying. I mean, I heard Sam Altman say something very profound where he said that, millennials use ChatGPT like a glorified Google search. He said Gen Z, Gen A, they use ChatGPT and artificial intelligence in general as a philosophical advisor, a philosophical guide to take them to places that, they will often have asked a human being for, or advice on things, but they ask ChatGPT, and that's what they see in their data, which lets you know something, which I think, you're onto something with, using. It's not that, because what is the AI doing? It's taking inputs from human civilization, right? It's not gathering collected data to answer your question out of a vacuum. It's somewhere, maybe it's not, the best input, but it's actually coming from human civilization, right? And it's going to and this is the worst it is. Like if you feel like it's bad, which everyone feels like it's great, most people feel like it's great, right? This is the worst it's ever going to be. It's only getting better. So it does make sense that, the newer generation, they would say, hey, look, I can ask I can ask this, ChatGPT a general question about something right now, and it can pull from all that we know from the ancients.
Yeah, and I think that is how they're gonna use it, because I think there's, especially younger people, you always want autonomy. It's like you're looking for it until you get it, and then you're like,
everything.
Autonomy comes with responsibilities.
Yeah.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah,
and that's where kids want to learn. Kids are hungry for knowledge, and I think you still have to like guide them in applying knowledge, but also like how you seek out the knowledge.
Yeah.
And I think I think AI is a great way to do research.
Yeah.
I think it's a great way to take in. Like,
you can also cheat at research. You can also augment your research.
Yeah, you could tweak it to to say what you want it to say.
Yeah.
And so that's where that's more what agentic AI. And I that's not really how I want to. That's not how I want to use AI when it comes to learning. Now, if I'm learning a pathway, like I want it to be structured to what I need.
Yeah.
Right. Because not everything is needed.
Yeah.
So if it's pulling out, what I can do to improve, I want that.
Yeah.
If it's, helping me send a text message to my wife, I'm just kidding. I've never done that, sweetie. I've done that before. Like copy paste, help me build a response.
Say this with a little bit more care.
With the love language.
With the love language.
Right. So I'm just kidding, sweetheart.
We would never do that.
Yeah. I love you, Dr. Griffin. So I think people are going to use it when there's an absence of people more, right?
Yeah.
Like you're going to use it more when you don't have answers or someone to go to.
Yeah.
It makes sense to do that because you're looking for the answers and this is going to give it to you. But also, like you said, you can tweak it. You can't really tweak Google to be like, hey, give me this, but give it to me this way.
Yeah.
And so I think those are things we have to not just look out for, but learn more about. I think a lot of the fear, like if we were to step out of this room that I've never been in here before, we turn off the lights, I'm going to be a little nervous to come in here, even though it's just cameras and lights.
Yeah.
Like the fear is rooted in what we don't know.
Totally.
So that means we have to fight ignorance with knowledge and learn more about it and learn how it's working, but also how it can work for myself or for others. Yeah. I think kids are going to use AI to cheat.
Yeah.
Right. I don't think that's going to stop, but kids were cheating before AI was invented. Like that's totally. Not like,
that's more of a character that we instill issue than it is technology available issue. Because technology is always going to be available to cheat. But what have we taught our children? What have you taught your son? What have you taught your daughter? Yeah, this has been like really, really informative. I actually very, very curious about artificial intelligence in education, which I really didn't quite understand it, but I feel a bit more illuminated on the landscape right now. Yeah,
I'll say it again. The company I'm with, Student, we aim to equip districts with a tool to accelerate learning, to target the students that need growth the most, right? Using human-centered AI to personalize those pathways, partnered with motivation science. There's got to be a stronger push for motivating the students as well as teachers. There's something that's really great to me, and I didn't know Texas did this because I was in private school for a while, but they have this thing called the teacher incentive allotment, which can pay teachers more if they're doing a good job.
Wow. Yeah.
And some people are like, oh, that's merit-based.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
That's totally.
And it should be, right? It's like, if I'm doing well, it's going to be reflected in my test scores.
Yeah.
If I'm doing well, it's going to be reflected in how I show up and how I impact and engage with and contribute to culture in my school.
Yeah.
And developing kids. So I think there's a lot of ways that we can partner with school districts.
Yeah.
And not just bring these concepts to students, but also to the teachers.
Totally.
Right? How do we engage teachers and educators to where they still feel like they are, how do we help teachers feel like they are seen, they are, doing a good job, or also just motivated? Like it's not just, we got to get the kids, we got to get the people working with the kids. Totally. So our hope is to equip educators with a tool that helps them to better approach the students that need them.
Yeah. I mean, some of these schools, even the parents get together themselves on their own accord, and it's understood that, hey, our teachers work hard. They don't get
Absolutely.
paid enough. And we're going to come out of our pocket, you know, $5,000, $10,000 each. And it's 20 kids in the school, so do the math. And we're going to make sure that that our teachers are taken care of because
Absolutely.
we value education for our children.
Absolutely. And there's, I can't wait for this year to be they call it like watchdog dads, and to like be on campus and to help bring value. Cause I was an educator for years.
Yeah.
And that feeling of burnout's like,
It's the worst.
what's the bad guy's name? Jason. He's like just always there. He's like, you turn around, he's like a little bit closer. Bro, come May, teachers tired.
Totally.
Teachers are tired, but that doesn't mean the kid doesn't still need them.
Totally.
And so if we can offload some of the tasks, if we can take care of some of the disaggregating of data, if we can help with interventions that are needed and also like have to be facilitated and implemented by a human, we need to be doing everything we can to assist them and support them in doing so. And I do believe human-centered AI and motivation science can be, this beautiful marriage in changing education. I do believe this, like it has to happen. We can't keep doing the same thing we've done. If we are, it's like we know we're missing our kids. We know we're not approaching them or pursuing them the way we should. And so I'm excited to see how this grows, and I want to be one of the dudes in front, like trying to push it and trying to focus on the improvement of not just our kids but the whole system, because it's got to happen.
Yeah. Well, I can't think of a better way and a better note to end this on. I really appreciate your enthusiasm, your knowledge base. I mean, you're passionate about education. You're passionate about making it better for our children. And it to me, it sounds like it doesn't matter what tool you will use to do that. You will only use the best tool. And right now, artificial intelligence is the best tool to use that. So thanks for your time. And I really appreciate it, man.
Yeah, man.
Thanks for coming
on.
Dope,
man. I appreciate this.
Yeah, absolutely.